best defensive performance we've had to date, and particularly in the secondary. I thought we did a really good job. You know, certainly the one that hurts is the drive at the end of the game. You know, that you got to seal the deal on that when your defense is playing as good as they were. They can't allow that one because that's the type of game that was going to. But we'll learn from it. You know, and offensively, it's what's continued to show. You know, we came out and we started the game pretty good. Got a field goal. We ended a half of the field goal, and we ended the game the way you want to end it. But all in between was not good, particularly 2 turnovers in the red zone. So, but when we needed it most at the end of that game, we found a way to produce 11 points. So, so there again, there's positives and negatives, but I'll open it up for questions.
Justin, go ahead.
Hey, Dan, on those, I guess, late game defensive drives, I know in the Baltimore game, Bobby had a breakdown, and it looked like the 2 to Thielen were both in Jerry's kind of sphere of responsibility. So I'm wondering if that type of coverage is a tough one for a young player to kind of figure out how to, you know, maintain that balance of do their job, but maybe try to make a play.
Yeah, look, I think Jerry was pretty good. You know, what they do, they're chumming, they're throwing out bait, and you've got an underneath receiver who's trying to make you bite on it, you know, and the first one, AJ bit on it, and when they threw the dagger right behind him, and, you know, they're trying to get chunks, and they got one there, and look, he'll learn from that, you know, he'll learn from that. And look, AG will be the first one to tell you, you know, we were trying to help more to 18 than we were Thielen. And, you know, it's easy to say hindsight, we should have tilted the other way, but then we'd be all upset if 18 hurt us. So it's one of those things that we got to learn from, because if we just sink on that play and make them dump it down, Jerry's going to make the play for a 10-yard gain. And they're going to use a timeout, and they've really gained nothing significant, you know, to get in field goal range.
And there's several, I guess, injury things to kind of clear up. Quintez, there's a report out there, broken collarbone. Just wanted to confirm that first.
Yeah, I'll confirm that. Yes, he does, and we'll know a lot more this afternoon as it pertains to how long he's going to be. I mean, certainly this is weeks and weeks, and that's if we get him back for the season, you know. But he's out for a significant amount of time, if not the whole season.
And then you have a significant number of guys that are eligible to return off IR, including Deshaun Hand, Taylor Decker, Tyrell Williams, and Ifatu. And I'm just curious if any of those, if there's hope of getting any of those guys back this week.
Yeah, I think there's hope. Yeah, we're going to see where Decker's at, you know, Wednesday, and at least that's where we'll begin. We know Strong's back, and I would say Hand's probably a little further away right now. And then we'll know more on Tyrell after tomorrow as well. So,
Eric.
Hey, what's up, Coach? Sorry about that.
All good.
How you doing today, man? You all right?
Good.
Two questions for you. The first question I have for you, obviously we saw the fast start that, you know, TJ Hawkinson, how he came out. You know, the last few weeks, you can say it's been a little bit of quiet, been fairly quiet for him. What do you feel like has been going on with him, and how can you, you know, work him back, you know, to performing at the level he was in those first couple of games?
Yeah, we got to get him going. We definitely need to get him going. And look, some of it, he was coming off of the injury. You know, he was a little banged up. He didn't practice until Friday. You know, and when you put in a lot for a guy and then he's not able to practice till Friday, you know, some things can get a little out of whack. And so there was a couple of things that showed up. You know, a couple of just timing issues, if you will. That's the give and take you have for a guy that you know is going to play, or you think can play, but he doesn't practice. And so, you know, that didn't help things. And then I know he wishes he'd had a couple of those balls back But the bottom line is we got to get him going. That's the bottom line because he can help us win. And so that's going to be a focal point for us.
My second question for you as well. I know it's been a small sample size of the season, but in your opinion, overall, who has been somebody that you watched on tape or you saw from last year that's vastly improved on this roster? Who would you say so far has been one of the most improved players on the team?
Yeah, that's pretty good. I mean, look, probably Reeves Maven's one of the first one that stands out because he was, played so much special teams and limited linebacker. But I mean, he's over the last 3 weeks, he's just gotten better and better, and he makes plays. He's productive for us. He'd be one of the first ones that stands out, in my head. If you're asking for one, look, Big V. I thought Big V played his best game yesterday. I know he was hurt last year, but he was on the roster, and so I thought he's really like showing up and settling in at right part.
Appreciate it, Coach. Thanks.
Yep.
Jeremy?
Hey, Dan. I had a couple questions on the safeties. First, Tracy Walker, I thought, had a pretty good game, had made plays both in the run and pass game. Has he earned enough trust to be potentially one of those every down safeties that doesn't come off the field?
We certainly made a case yesterday. That's the Tracy that we know and have been waiting to come out of his shell. And I'll tell you what, he played confident. He played physical. And he communicated well. It was great to see because he did. I mean, he played like a top-notch safety yesterday, and he was a factor. You felt his presence. I mean, I would say just overall, I think you could feel Will's presence, but Trey Flowers, Alex Anceloni, and Jerm, man, you really felt those guys. They really showed up. But yeah, I'd agree. Tracy played well.
And then last week, Daryl Worley kind of played a big part in your game plan. This week, he was inactive. I just was wondering what went into the decision for that. Yeah,
that was really to get Dilstra up to help us in case, we didn't know where Hawkinson was totally going to be at. So we wanted to have some insurance at tight end. And we knew he could help us on teams. And so that's where that spot went. It was more of a team's decision than anything else. We still like Worley.
Thank you.
Yep.
Dave?
Hey, Dan. So if Taylor Decker is coming back to practice this week, is he going to practice at left tackle or right tackle?
We may put him at center and move Evan Brown to left tackle. And then, yeah, it's a good question. I mean, I think right now the thought would be to move Decker back into his slot at left tackle and move Panay back to right tackle. That would be, that's tentatively what I think is the way that we're talking about going. We'll have a meeting this afternoon and really dive into all that stuff. We're still cleaning up the game, so but we will. But that's where I think we would lean certainly.
Panay's given up a couple sacks the last couple of weeks. I don't imagine it's going to worry you about him long term. But is there something that's giving him trouble right now? What do you sort of attribute the last couple of weeks to some of his struggles?
Yeah, I think. When he got in that game early, he was getting out of his stance so fast that he was oversetting. And look, Griffin he's still got plenty of curveballs left. Now, he may not be able to play 60 plays a game, but for the 20 he goes in there, he's got some rush ability, and he's a different type of rusher, and he's low to the ground, and he's, it's funny, he's totally different than what Quinn was last week. And so I go back to every one of these looks he gets, he's going to be better for. Now he's got to be able to adjust a lot faster than he did in that game. It took him a while, and then he thought he had him, and then he got beat. And so I do think we got to do some things to help him just a little bit to get him going again. I do think he'll learn and be good for it. Look, I could tell last week I knew he wanted to play just because he wanted redemption. That's the way he's built, and I love that about him. Like, he was mad, and I know he'll be mad about this. And if you talk about giving him help, he'll be pissed off about that. Like, I don't need help. And but I do think we need to just settle him back in. We'll get him going here, and but I love the way he's built, and he'll be better for it.
And then just one last thing, we asked about the turnovers a little bit yesterday with Goff, and Jared said he needs to stay, keep being aggressive and whatnot. He does I don't know if it's part of the offense, part of the lack of, maybe weapons at the receiver position, but he's at the very bottom of the league in terms of like yards per attempt, intended air yards per attempt, that is. So is he being aggressive enough, or what's sort of the balance that, you need to strike between taking good care of the ball, pushing the ball downfield, especially given, some of the limitations that you guys have roster wise?
Yeah, look, I think he's trying to take chances sometimes at a fault. I think he's trying to get, I think he's trying to get it downfield. Sometimes when maybe he ought to just go to the first look, and so look, one of those yesterday, Hawkinson's open on a hitch, just throw the hitch, and then we won't have the issue. We don't have the sack fumble. Just take what's there. We like it, and that's what it's for. If they're going to play off, and then we don't even have that mess. Now, Sewell got beat on it, but yeah, I mean, look, I think we've got to do a better job of finding a way to push it down the field, because, and I know this has been said, but here's the, explosives. They had 7, their offense. We had 5. 4 were passes, 1 were run. Well, 3 of those for us were run after catch. I mean, that's a hard way to live, man, trying to get explosive and hope you can get a guy who can break it. Every time they get the ball, you're catching an 8-yard route and then trying to bust it downfield. So I think we have to do a better job as a staff of designing some of these shots, protecting him, and getting it downfield. I think we have to do a better job of protecting, and when I say that, I think that's protection plan as well. Because he can throw it. Now he's got to take care of the football, because this has shown up again, and here we go. We're in the red zone, and it's, well, why are we struggling to get touchdowns early in the half? Because we get in the red zone and we turn the ball over. Or otherwise, we might score. Or we should score. But I think there's a number of things we can help him with too, to help our whole offense with.
Are some of those plays there right now and just not being hit too? Some of the deep ones.
Yeah, there are some, but I don't think that's. I don't think that's the issue. I mean, like, look, yesterday we took a shot to Leaf. It was the one where, Harrison drops it, right? Well, that thing got long. He got pushed so far out of the pocket. By the time he was able to set his feet, I mean, that's tough. They have a long time to stare it down, but really the protection didn't allow him to set his feet. So he's trying to get so far out of the box that by the time he does, now he's all over it. So then he's wanting to make a play, let's try to get it up and down. And, so I just think we have to do a better job just with our run action, protection, our plan. I think just with our dropbacks and bumps and nudges, man, let's protect him up and let him look down the field and make some throws. And then let's find a way to help our guys get some releases here too. I just think we have to be creative and really think about how can we, help our guys and really maximize what they have.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, one more for Chris Burke.
Hey, Dan. Actually, I had a couple of quick ones for you here. There was a third down in the fourth quarter on their side of the field. You guys ended up punting on 4th down and 4. It looked like you were pretty frustrated after that play. I was wondering if it was that play in particular or just kind of a culmination of things at that point.
That's the one we threw. I think we threw the bubble out to the left, didn't we?
Yep.
Yeah, we didn't block that properly. That's an easy first down. We didn't block it right. And we work it all week. And look, here's the thing that frustrates you is that, well, Cephas was hurt. He was one of the receivers that was in on that all week. But that's every receiver works that, and you have to know that if this happens, I'm in this position, and by the way, this is how we block this, and how we did it all week. And so when we don't do that properly, and it's an easy just throw and catch, make a play, get out of dodge. We don't have to deal with their pressure and all this crap. It's frustrating, because you can't design it any better, and we just didn't execute, and it frustrates you.
And so I guess that sort of leads into my other question, which is, I know you guys plan for injuries and preach next man up and everything, but is there a limit to how deep into the depth chart you go before you have to say, all right, we need to, scale this back? I know you talked a little bit about that, but scale this back and, we can't run X, Y, and Z because we just don't have the guys anymore to do it?
Look, I still think here's what I do think. I don't think we have to crop what we're doing because of the guys that are here or aren't here. I mean, look, with the guys that we still have here in the building, plus Tom Kennedy, plus Geronimo Allison, who's on our vet squad. I mean, I feel pretty good. And so I don't think that limits us. What I do think we need to do is really curtail the verbiage of our offense. And how do we really crop it down to where, these guys get a visual picture of what the play is within 2 or 3 words or a number, instead of, we've got some long verbiage between a wristband and giving it to the players, getting repeated, and then they hear it, and then all of a sudden you have injuries. I think we're not helping ourselves there. And I think all of us, I think we can do a better job. And even if that takes a little bit of pressure or a little bit of time, to where you can get up to the line and function quickly and see what's going on. And I know where to go. And I just think that'll help. And so I think that's what we're really looking at.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. If you guys can hop off and rejoin in about 15.